Imagine this. You spend 30 or 40 years working, saving, and sacrificing, only to realize, once you retire, that the rule you were following to keep your money safe may no longer apply. For decades, millions of people have based their entire retirement strategy around one number: 4%. It's called the safe withdrawal rate. The idea is simple. Withdraw 4% of your portfolio each year, adjust for inflation, and you're set for life. But what if I told you that the creator of that very rule now believes 4% is too low? That's right. The person who introduced this widely accepted financial guideline now says you may be able to retire comfortably with even less money saved than previously thought. This changes everything. In today's video, we're diving deep into the surprising new update to the 4% rule, what it means for your money, how to apply it to your own financial plan, and the biggest retirement mistake people are still making. And by the end, you'll know how to turn your savings into a strategy that actually works, without living in fear of running out of money. Let's start at the beginning. The original 4% rule comes from a 1994 study by a man named William Bengen. He wasn't just a financial advisor. He was a former rocket scientist who decided to apply analytical thinking to retirement planning. He combed through nearly 100 years of market data and found something powerful. If you withdrew 4% of your portfolio in your first year of retirement, then adjusted that amount for inflation annually, your money would almost always last at least 30 years, even during the worst economic downturns in U.S. history. So if you retired with $1 million, you'd start by taking $40,000 in the first year. The next year, if inflation was 3%, you'd withdraw $41,200, and so on. It was a simple rule: conservative, safe, predictable. But here's the twist most people miss. Bengen never said your money would be gone after 30 years. In fact, in most scenarios, you'd end up wealthier after those 30 years, despite withdrawing consistently. Only in the harshest market conditions did your wealth stay flat. Fast forward to today. Bengen revisited the numbers, and the results surprised even him. Based on current historical data, he now believes the worst-case safe withdrawal rate isn't 4%, but closer to 5%. Let that sink in. According to the very person who invented the rule, you could potentially withdraw $50,000 a year from a $1 million portfolio, even during difficult times, without running out of money. Why does this matter? Because if that's true, then every dollar you've been chasing beyond that 4% mark might be unnecessary. You could retire sooner, with less stress, and with a more realistic savings goal. But here's where it gets really interesting. Even Bengen admits the 4% rule has been treated like gospel. People rigidly follow it without understanding what it really means, or how it should evolve based on your specific lifestyle, flexibility, and the economy you're retiring into. Let's break this down with some real-world perspective. A $1 million nest egg using the 5% rule gives you $50,000 a year. Now, throw in Social Security, say $20,000 to $30,000 annually, and you're looking at $70,000 to $80,000 per year in income. That's more than enough for many retirees living modestly, especially in lower-cost areas. That's quiet wealth, the kind you don't need to show off, but that quietly buys you freedom, time, and peace of mind. So what changed? Why is 5% even possible now? Since 1994, a lot has evolved. Interest rates, bond yields, and market cycles have all shifted. And so has the data. Bengen's new estimate reflects nearly 30 more years of returns, including booms, busts, and inflationary periods. And even with those events added, the numbers held strong, or even improved. But, and this is key, Bengen doesn't say 5% is right for everyone. If you're retiring early, in your 40s or 50s, or want to be extra cautious, sticking closer to 4% may still be smart. That gives you a wider buffer, especially if you're concerned about future market returns, rising healthcare costs, or long-term inflation. And here's something most people overlook. Flexibility is more powerful than precision. Retirement isn't a rigid formula. If the market crashes your first year and your portfolio drops 20%, you're not locked into spending the same amount. Most people naturally cut back during tough times. They delay travel, cook at home more, or skip big purchases. That flexibility dramatically improves your portfolio's longevity. In other words, the ability to adjust your spending, even slightly, is more impactful than hitting some perfect savings number. Want to boost your odds of long-term success even further? Add a small income stream. It doesn't have to be full-time work. A part-time side hustle, rental income, or small business can take enormous pressure off your portfolio and might allow you to withdraw even less, increasing your margin of safety. This is a strategy many self-made millionaires use, not because they have to work, but because they want to maintain control over their finances and avoid tapping into their capital too soon. Now let's talk about the risk most people really need to watch: inflation. Inflation quietly eats into your purchasing power. If you need $50,000 today, you'll need $65,000 to $70,000 a decade from now just to maintain the same lifestyle. That's why most retirement plans build in inflation-adjusted withdrawals. But here's the problem: those increases are permanent. If inflation spikes 10% in year one, your withdrawal also jumps 10%, and that higher amount sticks, even if inflation cools off later. A few years of high inflation early in retirement can permanently stress your savings. That's why investment strategy matters. Bengen based his research on a 50-50 stock-to-bond portfolio designed to reduce risk and smooth out returns. But today, many investors go heavier into stocks, chasing higher yields. That can work until it doesn't. A bad market year with a high equity exposure could set you back significantly, especially early in retirement. So the question becomes, are you building your plan around hope or around history? Bengen's model looked back almost 100 years through the Great Depression, World War II, the stagflation of the 70s, the dot-com bubble, the 2008 crash, and found that even in the worst-case scenario, you could retire with dignity if you withdrew responsibly and adjusted for inflation. Retiring isn't about hitting a magical number. It's about designing a life that balances freedom, flexibility, and financial intelligence. If you do it right, you don't need $10 million. You need clarity. And maybe the real takeaway here is this: don't blindly follow financial rules. Understand the principles behind them, adapt them to your life, and most importantly, stay flexible. Because the truth is, your financial future isn't set in stone. It's built one smart decision at a time. Liked this video? Give it a thumbs up to support the channel. Share your thoughts below. Are you sticking to 4%, or do you feel confident about 5%? And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful, real-world personal finance content to help you build wealth with intention. Your money should serve your life, not the other way around. Thanks for watching.